If there is a sense of doership, then it is a karma. For example, when I am doing something physically and I feel I am doing it, then it is karma. And even when I am not doing anything, that is also karma. Because there is a sense of doership in that also. See this, please understand. Even when I say I am not doing anything, that is also an action of not doing. Because the sense of doership is there. When a person says, oh, I am sitting quietly, I am not doing anything. So you have a sense of doership. Do you think you are not doing? Yes, then that is also an action. So when we mean action, we mean that there is a sense of doership, whether the body is actually acting or whether it is sitting silently. If the sense of doership is there, then it is considered action only. So a wise person is one who comes to comprehend that Atma, who is not a doer, in which no activity happens, even when the activities are happening at the level of the body and mind, such a person is considered as a wise person. So karmani akarmaya pasyet, ya akarma, the word akarma means that akarta atma, which is not performing any action. So even when the body is acting, one who comes to have the vision of the self, which is not a doer. Even when the body is sitting quietly, one who knows that Atma is not a doer. One who has got this vision is considered as a wise person here. Like again, let me give the example of that. Let us say, space. So even when the clouds are moving, the space knows that I am not moving. It's a wise space. That even when the clouds are moving, I am not moving, and even when the clouds are steady, I am not moving. I have nothing to do with the clouds. But those who do not understand the secret, they feel when the clouds are steady, they feel the space is steady. And when the clouds are moving, they feel the space is moving. So an ignorant person feels that Atma is the doer when the actions are happening at the level of the body, mind, intellect. And they feel Atma is not a doer when the actions are not happening at the level of body, mind, intellect. But even in this state, if there is a sense of doership, then that is also considered an action only. So one who can recognize this self even when activities are happening, and one who knows that non-action at the level of body, mind, intellect is also an action. Akarmani cha karmayah. Even when no actions are happening at the level of body, mind, intellect, one knows that that is also an action if there is a sense of doership. When I say I am not doing anything, that is also considered as doing only. Understand? I am not doing anything. I am just sitting quietly. Many people have this wrong notion that I am not thinking. That is also a thought. I am not doing anything. That's also doing. I am sitting quietly. I have reached the state of nirvikalpa samadhi. Now I am not doing anything. That's also a thought and that's also an action. And there is a state of identification. So this subtle vision of a person who has gained, he has understood the secret of karma. And he has become free from the sense of doership. So that is what Bhagavan says, karmani akarmaya pasyet, he who sees that akarma atma in action, even when the actions are happening, and even when one is not performing any action, there lies the sense of doership. One who sees this, sabuddhiman manusheshu, he is a very wise person among all beings, sayuktaha, he is considered as a realized person and who has performed what all has to be performed. He has reached his destination. He has achieved the goal of his life. So this is the state of realization with respect to action which is indicated here. See, in Bhagavad Gita we will find in almost every chapter Bhagavan talks about the state of realization. But in every chapter he expresses it in a different way. Like in the second chapter we have seen the Sthita Prajna Lakshana. It was explained or expressed from the standpoint of that state of understanding, wherein one through that state of understanding has identified with the self completely and is seated in that self. Same state is explained here, but with respect to the understanding about the secret of karma. Because the topic of karma yoga is going on, so secret of karma, one who has understood, he has become free. In the 14th chapter, while explaining the three gunas, Bhagavan explained the state of Sthita Prajna with respect to the three gunas. So therefore, one need not get confused if the same state is explained using different terminologies. So, sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayukta krishna karma krita. So he is considered a wise person and one who has fulfilled his life's mission. So what are the characteristics of this realized person? How does he live? How does he behave? How does he respond to the world around? What exactly is his state of being? That now Bhagavan explains in the following 6 verses. So the following 6 verses are like the characteristic of a realized master. Like we saw in the second chapter, the Sthita Prajna Lakshana, these are also the Lakshanas of a realized master. So let us go through them. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagdha karmanam tamahu pandhitam buddhaha yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha tam ahu pandhitam buddhaha. Such a person is called a pandit, a realized person, a awakened person, an enlightened person. Panditam buddhaha. Who? Yasya sarve samarambhaha, whose all actions which are seen at the level of his body, mind, intellect. See, even when one gains the state of realization, the body continues to exist, the mind continues to exist, everything appears to be same, but that person has attained the state of realization. Gautam Buddha before realization and after realization look the same. If you do his DNA test and all those things would be same. MRI and all. But something has changed. What has changed? That Atma which is identified, which was identified with that body, is no longer identified with the body. But all functions continue. Why? Because it is part of Prakriti. Prakriti continues and the function also continues. It's like suppose I am watching the river which is flowing and I feel I am also flowing with the river. Then suddenly I come to know that I am standing on the shore and just looking at that flow. Even when I understand that I am looking at that river, the river will continue flowing. In the state of ignorance also it flows, in the state of realization also it flows. The flow of the river doesn't stop. Similarly, that one person who is performing some action, that action continues even after the state of realization. But the personality, the self which was identified with that is no longer identified. So it says that a realized person, sarva yasya sarve samarambhaha, his all actions, samarambha means all actions which are seen at the level of body, mind, intellect. One thing about those actions is they become devoid of kama and sankalpa. Kama sankalpa varjitaha. They become devoid of selfish desires born from selfish imagination. Kama sankalpa varjitaha. Now our actions in the state of ignorance are not only according to the natural state of this prakriti, but it is also filled with lot of our own personal selfish desires. But the wise person action becomes instantaneously free from all selfish desires. Selfishness